Do you ever wish that you had that perfect practice that after an hour you'd have done your exercise, meditation, and health and wellness practices all wrapped into one? This week, I talk about just that with Frank Banuelos. If you remember back in episode 28, I interviewed Frank about Tai Chi. He's been practicing a form of Tai Chi for over 10 years, brought to America by Master Fu Yan Ni. He practices the martial arts, defense, and meditative aspects of Tai Chi. But this week, I invited Frank to talk about something different. His new moving meditation class that's based on Qi Gong-style healing movements that are centuries old, passed down to him by his Tai Chi teachers. It's an hour-long class of simple, gentle movements that cleanse the organs and build up internal Qi energy. He weaves together 3 different movement systems, and my favorite is the 5 animal play. You embody 5 different animals: bear, tiger, deer, monkey, and crane, which balance the 5 major organs of your body. If you're the type of person that wants to meditate but finds it hard to sit still, this is the perfect moving meditation practice. Or if you're interested in learning how to direct and work with your own Qi energy for more radiance, vitality, and long life, you'll love this episode. Welcome to the Flower Lounge, a place for conversations with wildly creative people and a little plant-loving wisdom to help you experience life in full bloom. I'm Katie Hess, flower alchemist and founder of LOTUSWEI, and I believe in a world where we're all living at our personal edge. Welcome to this week's episode of the Flowerlounge Podcast. Today I have with me Frank Banuelos, who is an old friend of mine, and we're going to have a really fun conversation about some new work that he is bringing into the world. Previously, he's been studying and practicing Tai Chi for over 10 years. He was fortunate enough to be taught by a very old form of the Yang style of Tai Chi that was brought to America by Master Fu Yan Ni and passed on to him by Master Ni's former student, Gary Kukuk. Frank teaches both the martial application, self-defense, and the meditative aspects of Tai Chi. And he is a practitioner teacher at the San Center here in Phoenix. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
So, I mean, I know all about your work in terms of Tai Chi and having studied with you and practicing the form with you. And we talked in episode 28. If any of you are interested in Tai Chi, we recorded a beautiful episode 28 about cultivating your inner essence and your inner Qi. And Frank went way deep into all of the aspects of Tai Chi and really like a lot about how you can use that as a personal growth practice. I remember how we talked about facing your inner demons and developing a soft heart and being able to take the energy that you get from the world and process that. Today, what we're going to be talking about is a little bit different. You've developed a new class that you're going to be offering here at the San Center, and I was hoping you would tell us a little more about it.
Yeah, so when I first started Tai Chi, there was preliminary exercises that I was asked to do, start training for in order to get me ready. And a lot of it had to do with the cultivating of Qi energy and also getting more in touch with yourself, understanding where you're at, your connection with your environment, which of course coincides with mindfulness and awareness. They've been around for a while, actually, these exercises. The first would be the 8-form brocade, which is a Qigong form, as well as the 5 animal play Qigong form. The 5 animal play is actually older than the brocade form.
So are we talking like thousands of years or?
It was created like, let's see, in the year 150 AD around.
Wow.
In like the era, like in the Qin dynasty, one of the first eras. It was actually created by a physician, a Chinese physician. Hua To is his name. And he was like considered amazing at everything he can do medicine-wise. He's actually the first person to introduce anesthetic for surgery by using traditional Chinese herbs and wine. That way he can safely perform surgery on people and help them even more than he was.
Wait, with just Chinese herbs and wine?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, because I mean, that's all he had. I mean, this is back when China was completely, closed off to the outside world. Especially if you think about what was going on in that time, a lot of people weren't doing surgery the same way. I mean, you still had the Dark Ages where they believed leeches were going to help get rid of a lot of the bad demons inside people, and that's why they would leech people. But no, he was great at acupuncture, was great at Chinese herbal medicine, and so he was very aware of the body. But he was also very aware of the Taoist idea of internal alchemy, which I'm sure hopefully people have understood or people have heard about, which is the idea that everybody has the elements within them, and the way they work and the interplay will allow you to live either a healthy life, or if you're constricting them, you'll deal with a lot of things, of course, physically as well as mentally and emotionally, because that's how internal alchemy works. You have a physical element, there's usually an emotional thing that may be causing that, or a mental thing that could be causing your emotional state to go that way, and it's going to affect the organs at the same time.
Oh yeah, I mean, a simple example of that we would all understand is like, usually we eat lunch at noon, and somehow for some reason we worked late, didn't eat till 3, and suddenly like you feel all the excess air in your body, you get hangry, you get cranky. I mean, just like a simple example of like how quickly a physical imbalance can lead to like mental.
Yeah, and it throws off your whole day and your cycle.
Completely.
And that's another thing, is that we all have cycles, and not just like these huge cycles that we think about within a year or within like a 7-year time, but throughout the day there's cycles. And it's all based again on that internal alchemy. Like when you wake up, like that's when your fire's rising. But like if you have too much fire and you burn out too quickly, the rest of the day you're gonna have that off day, which is why you pay attention to what you're taking in, how you're doing things, where your mental space is. And as a good physician, he understands that you don't want to give medicine like right away. You want to find a way to where you don't have to. That's what a good doctor wants to do. That's what a good person wants to do for anybody else. They want to be able to give them something or convey something so that that person is always healthy, and that they never have to go to the doctor. They never have to deal with that physical ailment or that emotional ailment, or they have a way to get rid of that, or, not repress it. Because again, repressing is going to cause more of that.
So you're telling me that this is actually like lifestyle practice that is preventative medicine so that people don't get sick in the future.
Exactly. And that's what he created. And he created it by watching actually animals and having that understanding of course, we have these elements within us. Everything does. Everything has an element. Certain animals have more elements than the other. And so that's when he picked the 5 animals as he was watching them, which is the 5 animal style, which is bear, tiger, deer, monkey, and crane. And each one of those animals actually has a organ that it's primarily working. But with the yin and yang system, there is also the balancing organ. And with that, it's the mental state that it's tied to, as well as the emotional state. So by creating this series of exercises, people could easily do these exercises preventative of any ailments that, that may happen, at the same time strengthening the body. Because by like acting as the deer is very graceful, but they're very long legs. So it's going to allow you to stretch your arms, your legs, get your balance and your coordination. And with the deer, let's see, I have that written down because it's hard to remember. That's for the liver. For, the liver is what helps filter out the blood when after you eat it, takes it from the stomach. And so actually the way that you practice, it kind of like opens up these things. So, your liver's in check, your heart's in check, your stomach, and your spleen, and your lungs. Everything needed to help healthy blood circulation, because once you stop the blood circulation, or there isn't a good amount of circulation, that's when more of the physical ailments are going to happen. And again, if your blood circulation is not that well, it's because you might be holding something tight, like your shoulders up too high. If you're holding your shoulders up too high, you're holding on to stress. Again, you're repressing something. Where with this, much like when you see people either doing Tai Chi or Qi Gong or any of the internal arts, it's very fluid. You flow. You find your space. You understand where you're at, what you need to do, what you need to take in and also how to let go at the same time. And it's not always easy, but you have this guideline out just through these exercises, just by doing these daily.
Okay, so if liver is connected to anger, liver is a seat of anger,
Hmm.
then I wonder if this like gentle, like you think about a deer moving. You're like, is it kind of, I mean, I know that is like the whole art of it is very profound and there's probably 50 aspects to each movement, but is also the idea that you're embodying a creature that is going to calm that energy.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, yeah, you think of the deer, they're alert, but at the same time, they're very graceful in how they move. They're very attentive, very watchful as to what's going on. But when you see a deer, you don't see them like in like this anxiety-ridden mode.
They might run away, but they don't freak out, right?
They don't freak out. Like, and even when you see them like run away, they kind of like bounce away, like they fly away, and they're just like kind of hopping in and out of things. But again, very fluid. They know what's going on. They have that energy to ready to release and to use it at the same time.
So I had the great fortune of getting a tour through these movements about a week ago. My favorite was the tiger.
The tiger's great.
What can you tell us about the tiger?
Tiger is kidney, which is good because, I mean, that's going to filter out blood. It also filters out toxins, everything like that.
That's so interesting. You want to know why?
Why?
Because in this past week, Kaya, who's our acupuncturist at the Sun Center, she said that my kidney pulse was weak, which is not typically normal for me.
Yeah.
And then I should like really increase on the inner peace mist to balance that out, which is typically not my favorite. So I would think it would be very interesting to see like who's drawn to what animal movement, and you could do those specific movements in conjunction with your treatments too.
Yeah. And when doing the practice, like you said, you'll find the ones that you connect with right away, and you'll find the ones that feel weird right away.
Like the lumbering bear.
the lumbering bear. Like it, and that's actually an important point to think about, because like we often forget that it's okay to be awkward in situations, because that's what the lumbering bear is. It's like it's this lumbering, awkward, like it looks like it's not comfortable in its own skin, but if you think about it, a bear is completely comfortable in its own skin. It's just the ideas that we put in ourselves. And so even by that, you're changing your mindset. And by changing your mindset, again, you're changing your emotional state. And then by that, you're also adjusting your physical state to that at the same time. So you're getting this full exercise, not just physically, but internally and mentally. So it's this huge cycle going on. And again, letting you become aware of your cycles, your internal cycle, and how even when you're put into a different place and position, you're not going to fight that cycle. You're not going to go against the current. You're going to learn to work with the current, and you're going to learn to find your strength in the current just by listening to yourself. And that's the idea. It's a meditation. Like any of the internal martial arts or any martial art, it is a meditation. This one just allows you to kind of really get to the core of cultivating things a lot quicker.
Well, it's super playful. I mean, I think like when you teach movements, people are kind of like, if it's just like, say, a Tai Chi movement, people are like really focused on, oh, okay, where's his body going? And I got to mimic his body and I got to do it perfectly and like super mental. But when you came in and you said like, okay, now you're going to embody tiger.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, everybody has like already an idea in their head about, and like instantly your inner child is like, yeah.
It ignites, yeah, because you think of yourself again as a tiger and like, thinking of the claws coming out and like really grabbing and pulling back, or even like the monkey. My favorite one is the monkey.
I was going to ask you, what's your favorite?
My favorite one is the monkey, just because like it's so playful, and like when you watch even the masters do it, when they get to the monkey, it's great because like most masters are like very, stoic on the outside, and they don't really, sure, they reserve so much. And then that first pose where you like you kind of pull up your hands, you have the monkey paws, and it's like wide-eyed like a monkey, and then you look around like a monkey, and then you see all of them like woo, and again like inner child comes out. But it's that taking in that animal and understanding it, because again, by allowing yourself to put yourself in that space of the animal, you're also helping what that animal signifies within that element, within that cycle again, within that alchemy again. So again, mental, completely putting your mindfulness into something else, because you understand you're still you, but that you can manipulate, you can change, you can do things differently as long as you kind of let go of a lot of things and not really worry about how you're going to look or all that funny stuff.
Right. Feeling insecure about like, how do I look when I'm a bear?
Yeah.
Does my butt look bigger when I'm a bear?
If you're a bear, it should.
It should be big.
It should be big, yeah.
Wait, so remind me, tiger, bear,
Tiger,
monkey,
bear, monkey, deer, and crane. Crane is also like my second favorite one, but it has a lot to do with that like flowiness and really opens you up. And that's why it's good for the lungs, because you're using your arms to stretch out. You're using your legs to stretch out. And as you do that, you're stretching your spine. And you are really breathing in, taking everything in. And again, you have to think like a bird taking flight. When a bird spreads its wings, it doesn't hold back. Like it needs to get that gust of wind in. Like it's taking everything in order to take off.
You know what's so brilliant about that is, like, if you were in a yoga class, for example, you or anyone else might be like, okay, you're doing a stretch and like you're gonna like really stretch that muscle, right? And you like might overstretch even. But if you're embodying a bird, you're like stretching, but you're never gonna overdo it.
No.
You're not gonna hurt yourself.
No.
Because there isn't a bird that's like overstretched and painful.
No, you never see it. No, they're very relaxed. They're very relaxed in their own space. And that's also another great thing about this, is that we always ask people, don't overdo it. Don't overextend to what you can do. Like, you know what you can do, or you'll feel it. If you get to that point, that's all you need to do, because your body is not used to it yet. Like, let your body get comfortable with it. When your body gets comfortable, you're stretching, but you're not doing these heavily exerted stretches like you would, again, like in any other class. Like, it's not jazzercise where you're, really pumping it hard and trying to get a sweat.
You don't have to wear a leotard.
No, I mean, you can if you want. I mean, all inhibitions behind, but.
Okay, so when we do the practice, each animal, like, how much time are you spending on each animal? And it's a very structured practice. There are specific movements to stimulate specific meridians. It's not like you just tell your students, go act like a bear.
Yeah.
It's very specific movements.
Very specific movements. 3 minutes, about 3 minutes, maybe sometimes a little bit more. There's usually time in between, because you always want to recollect yourself before and after you're switching from animals again. Like, you just don't want to jump to the other. You want to give yourself time to take in what you just did. Again, how you feel about it. And then, absorb it, move on to the next one. Again, that cycle. Within every cycle, there's always that break. And that's also another thing. Understanding there's a break in the cycle. Sometimes there's a cycle where you just breathe, take everything in, be aware of everything that's going in. I forgot the original question that you asked.
Oh, we talked about your favorite animal.
Yeah.
I mean, what would be, so like for folks who are like living in the Phoenix area, and for folks who fly in from other states, which like 25% of the people coming here are flying in from other places. So what would I tell them, for example, of like, and this is only a third of your class, so we're going to go over some of the other parts that are really interesting, but specifically about the animal play, what would be like the main reason that you would recommend people do these exercises? And this is something they can learn and take home and practice at home, right?
Yeah. And the one thing is, it's easy. It's easy to learn. It's full beneficial, like fully. Like, everything about it is everything you want to do. You don't have to overexert yourself. You don't have to do the 3 minutes for each animal. You can just do like 1 or 2 reps. The idea is just doing it, to where you're comfortable. You can take it with you anywhere. Like, if they come here to learn, awesome. And then they go anywhere, especially great for travelers. A lot of people don't understand, like, the jet lag is usually caused by your Qi is off, because you're picking up yourself from one place for your Qi. This is where it is, it's used to it. And then you drop yourself down into another place and you feel jet lag. And a lot of that's because, again, that cycle's off. If you know this and you're traveling, you go to that new place, 4 minutes of this, and you'll find that you don't have that jet lag anymore, or you start to come out of it a lot quicker. Throughout the week, as you do it, you'll find out that jet lag, usually fogginess that happens, it's not there. It's completely different. And then in your outside world, you will carry that with you, that mindset again, that flow. You'll get into your flow better. So even when you go to work, things that come at you, you're not going to embody a bear at work or a tiger at work.
I don't know. It sounds kind of
You
fun.
can't. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that because sometimes you do. You can be a tiger, you can be fierce, but understand that a tiger is fierce but soft at the same time. You know, a bear doesn't like to be bothered, but he's a presence when he's there at the same time. There's nothing wrong about doing that. You're setting your boundaries of what you are. But again, you're taking it out into the world and you're using it. And by that, you're, again, that general health thing is not, again, just based on what we usually think about as like, oh, this physical health. If I'm physically healthy, then I should be fine. It's like, no, like there is more to health and well-being than just what you think of like exercise and eating right. You have to have this full mindset within it. And that's what people will ultimately get out of it.
What's happening with the Qi or the internal energy when doing these practices?
Every form begins with the stance. When you're building Qi, you are drawing up from the ground and from actually you're drawing up from the earth and from the sky. The idea is there's celestial Qi and then there's earthly Qi. As human beings, we are the conduit where this interconnects with, and it wants to balance out. But our habits create that imbalance. And so by doing this, you're actually, again, you're cultivating that Qi, you're balancing everything out, you're becoming natural. That's a state of just being natural, effortless. That's what's going on with the body. That's what any internal martial art is doing. It's not about, learning to like throw people really hard or like, I can feel the energy in my hands. Like if you can, awesome. Not everybody's going to do that. But what you're doing, you're drawing this vital life essence, because that's what Qi is. It's vital life essence. It's everywhere. If people want to think of it in like even a scientific form, like it's energy.
Well, I think most of our listeners would understand because they either work with or understand the concept of flower essences. So they're like working with the flower and earth energies, infusing them in their bodies and drinking them and ingesting them. But this is just like quick, suck it up from the earth.
Yeah.
Like almost like your
replenish. You're replenishing. And that's another thing. Like you are replenishing your well. A lot of times when we feel drained or tired or lethargic, your well is depleted. And by doing these practices, you're actually learning to open up those chakra points, because it's going to open up your meridian lines. By relaxing and doing it, your blood circulation is going to increase to a healthy amount. You're breathing, so that means oxygen is getting to the blood. And again, the other organs that we talked about, the liver, the spleen, the kidneys, this is all helping to filter out or keep the blood clean or keep it moving, or to take that essence, that other part of Qi, which we get from food, and it's developing it and making you use it better at the same time. And then you start understanding how this works, and then your chakras start to open up. Once the chakras are opened up, the meridians can easily connect within each other. So you are now like this open highway of vital life essence. So you just become this living ball of energy. Like you're just this being that is now one with everything. Still aware of who you are individually, but also how you're connected to everything at the same time, because that's what's going on within your body, just like everything else is. It's a reflection of everything going on outside. So it actually allows you also to place yourself within the world, and we can get more esoteric about it.
Well, I was just thinking about people who do meditation. I was thinking this morning that one of the things that I respect most about you is your self-discipline in terms of for how long you've been doing over 10 years of daily Tai Chi practice.
Yeah.
And in a world where people want to like pick things up real quick, there is, I just have like so much value and appreciation for someone who can dedicate so much time to a craft. It's similar. Like for me, it would be meditation and flower essences. But
dancing.
Not 10 years. Well, I'd be really good if I had done that.
No, but yeah. your love and your desire is there though. Right.
But I don't have anything the only things that I've put that much, time into would be like meditation and flower essences. And there are certain people who may not be as suited to like a seated, still meditation practice.
Hmm.
So maybe you could talk a little bit about how a moving meditation could be a better fit for people like that. How this can fulfill as a moving meditation. So like your mind chatter stops.
Yeah, because you're focusing on the movements. Like even though the movements are easy, and I actually have this problem where I had this problem, which is one of the reasons why like it's helped me. I'm a thinker. I'm always thinking nonstop. But to gear it towards something, it helps the meditation because then it's not the chatter anymore. It's now focused on something. And I understand that in sitting meditation, especially as a thinker, your mind's going to go. Like you just given yourself the go to like think for a thinker. Because it's like, okay, I'm breathing. And then in breathing, like all the thoughts will start coming even more. And they're loud, like really, really loud. Sometimes where it's unsettling. By having a moving meditation, you're focusing on where are you stepping? Where is my body moving? How is it moving? Am I breathing in and out? And as sitting meditation, like meditators, we're always taught to focus on our breath. And sometimes that can be a challenge. But if you have something that can time it with it, like the movement of the body of swaying back and forth, you have now a working metronome for you to allow you to know like, oh, breathe in here, exhale here. You know, I'm moving this way. I need to move my body with it that way. So then again, you're anchoring yourself. And that's what they are. It's anchors within reality, I guess. Or
Like awareness anchors.
Awareness, yeah. And so when you're sitting, it can be a little difficult to anchor yourself sometimes. When you're moving, you now have all these anchors, these things that you have to do in place. So that way, if your thought process starts or that the thoughts start coming up, you remember, oh, I'm swaying back. I'm supposed to be breathing here. I'm moving forward. My arm's supposed to go up here, you know, in tandem with this. So you're thinking, but now the thinking is just based on this thing. Where are you here? Where are you now? As opposed to just letting all that stuff come in.
The movement keeps bringing you back into the now.
It keeps bringing you back constantly into the now.
And okay, so this particular class, which is going to be about an hour long, we talked about the animal play, and there's 2 more sections.
Yes.
8 brocade, which you showed me the other day.
The 8 brocade, and that one is a little bit more physical. So with the 5 animal play, you're kind of, again, you're enveloping internal energy, and you're using the animals to kind of help open that out. With the 8 form brocade, it's a little bit more physical. Again, nothing that anybody should overexert themselves with. But now you're kind of taking that idea and now it's just your body. You don't need the animals anymore, or you can let go of the animal for just a moment. And now you pay attention to where like your hands are going, where you're stretching, where you're pulling up that energy from the ground. As you breathe in, you breathe in deep into your lungs, you let it fill up the whole body, and you push it out and you hold it. So there's a lot more holding in this one. And that holding is also allowing that chi to collect to that one place where you're focused on. Where again, the 5 animal play is just kind of letting those things loose, letting them be free. Now you're learning to channel into an appendage. And by channeling into an appendage, it's now flowing to that place. And through the body, in order to flow to that place, it has to hit the certain organs and the certain meridians that get to that place. So you're opening these things up again. But it's in more of a, I guess, controlled fashion. Then again, just we're gonna let the tiger take control on this one. Like here, it's like, no, you're now here. You are now moving this. This is where your focus is. At the same time, strengthening your legs, your back, your spine in an easy and safe manner to where you shouldn't get injured.
And you're saying people who are 10 years old could do this. People who are 80 years old could do this.
Yeah. Yeah. Even when there's certain steps where you have to like get on one foot. Don't have to. Put your weight on one foot, If you see somebody get into a deep stance, don't get into a deep stance. Just do what you can, Bend your knees enough to where you can feel that resistance a little bit, not to where it's overbearing, but like, oh, okay. Even by doing that, especially in elderly people, will completely help their balance and their strength in their legs and their coordination. That's the most important thing. Like it's the coordination too. Because as you get older, things start to go. But if you have that coordination still, even if it becomes a muscle memory thing, your coordination will still be there. And it, again, doesn't matter how old you are, you can still learn. You can still train the body at any age as long as you're willing to do it. Even if you can't stand, you can sit and do these. You just follow the movements of the hands, and in your mind, you think that you're shifting, or that, yes, your legs are going to be spread out. You have them on the ground. Even by doing that, you are allowing your imagination and your mindfulness to still bring that Qi up to where it needs to go. Because that's the thing about Qi. Qi will go to where you ask it to go. And this is what you're doing. You're creating a conversation with Qi. You can't control it. You can ask it of things, but you have to learn how to talk to it.
Invite it in.
Invite it in. And so these exercises are allowing you to open up that conversation. So now that you're having this open conversation, and that's what you kind of do with like the animal play, like Qi's all around you. It knows animals. Animals don't have this, hold up that we do about Qi. It's in them. So you let it open up like the beginning of a conversation. It's the icebreaker. Once you have that conversation, you have the 8 system. And now you're having a direct conversation with it. And you're telling it like, let's go here. Hey, you want to come here? Cool. Come with me. Come with me on here. Come with me on this move. I'm going to put my hand out here. You with me on this one? And it will go with you. And then again, all the health benefits that come with it will go there. All the mindfulness, all the meditation will be part of it. Because again, you're now in this space where you're just talking with Qi.
Okay, so let's just think about like the average person who walks in the building. They've been working on the computer a lot. Their eyes are strained and fatigued from computer or cell phone. They probably are carrying a lot of tension in their neck and shoulders because of computer use. We're sitting in chairs, or we like to sit on the floor a lot here, but most people are sitting in chairs. Just talk about the benefit of doing these practices several times a week. I mean, every day, hopefully. But even if they just came for one of your classes, what do you feel like when you walk out?
Refreshed. You'll feel like you got that sleep that you've been longing for, but without having to sleep. With your eye strain will be gone because you're relaxing your eyes, you're relaxing your body, you're creating like a restart, decompressing. And that's what you're decompressing from everything else that's out there. By doing this, you're also allowing to take in what you just did and let it go. You're doing the movements. Whatever you did before doesn't matter at that moment. Whatever you're going to do after the class doesn't matter at that moment. It's a space for you just to be. So when you leave, you're just recharged, you're refreshed, you're ready to go again. And I found that out by redoing them again, because my day job is very hectic to where I am done usually by the end of the day. But coming here and then relearning these things, when I leave, my body is limber. Like it feels relaxed. Like I'm ready to go for like another 12 hours. My eyes don't feel strained anymore. Like it feels like I splashed cold water on my eyes and like I'm refreshed. And my whole face is refreshed and I'm ready to go. And even my energy levels are up. And usually I drive home like happy singing to whatever's playing on the radio because like I just, again, like that headspace is gone. I'm completely like myself again. And that's the thing. You will become yourself again.
I love that. And also something that always surprises me is how much aerobic activity you can get, like cardio. People say that, you don't need to go running 2-3 hours in the morning. You just need shorter, like 5 minutes, 5 times a day of getting your heart rate up to keep your metabolism going, to keep trim, to lose weight, or even like in cases of like beauty and radiance.
Yeah.
And I'm always surprised not only how warm I get, but how much my heart beats from these like very slow, gentle exercises.
Yeah.
Anything you could add about people looking to lose weight or stay fit, or, how could moving such slow movements actually give you a so-called workout?
Well, because it's becoming such an integral part of what you're doing and it's making you more aware of yourself, especially for people who want to lose weight. you're going to be more aware of what you're putting into your body, how you're treating your body. A lot of people, when they overeat, they're stress eating, or they'll go to the comfort food when it's not comforting. Like most people who like will decide to go get like a greasy slice of pizza, they think it's comforting as you're eating it. And then when you're done, you do that, like that shame spiral, like for 30 minutes afterwards, where you kind of lay, yeah, you're like, what did I do that to myself? Like earlier it sounded so good, but now it hurts. So you're going to become more aware of that. You're going to enjoy the food that you're eating, and you're not going to have to eat a lot of it. And you're going to actually go for good food, stuff that tastes great. As in the actual physical part of it, when we hold poses, you are allowing your muscles to work. But it's a slow work. It's an easy work. You don't need to pump iron. You don't need to run. Your muscles just want to stretch a little bit. And by slowly stretching, you're actually making them stronger. And then you relax them, so you give them a break. So they have more recovery time. But like we said before, we're increasing our blood flow just by breathing and doing these movements. And by doing that, your heart rate's going to go up because it needs to push that blood. And when you have increased blood, your metabolism is going to go up. And not only that, what you're eating, your body's going to need to quickly digest that. And because you're working the organs that need to take that energy and push it out to the rest of the body, you're going to start using that energy right when you need to. And because your blood flow is so good and you're breathing better, of course your skin's going to become more radiant. Your hair will become healthier. Your nails will become healthier. It's truly working from the inside out. And you will start to notice things. You'll notice that, like, if you have a sore knee from an old injury that you had, after probably 3 months, you'll notice that it's not as sore, or you don't even notice it anymore, because that pain, at first it'll dull and then it'll go away. Or again, any ailment that's going on, you'll notice it slowly start to go away, because you're allowing it also to heal. Because again, these exercises are hitting certain points. The deer, I don't know if you know this, but when you kind of spiral your body, it's actually working the shoulder and the neck muscle, but it's not causing you to tense up. It's again working that muscle, and then when you relax it back and you're breathing in, it relaxes too. It gets back into its natural state. It gets the oxygen it needs, so it strengthens. So that way, you're not tensing your neck all the time, because you're going to be aware of that movement when you're actually in your daily practice. But from what you did throughout the day, you're repairing it. Whether you're doing it in the morning or at night, because you wake up, you're either taking what you had from the previous day, or at the end of the day, you have that, and now you're allowing it to kind of iron out. You're getting rid of it. At the same time, strengthening legs, arms, because you're holding your arms out. And again, with the tiger, you make the claws. And when you make the claws, your forearms, the muscles in your forearms, the muscles in your biceps, everything is working out. When we roll, you have to use your abdomen, so you're using your core. When you stand in a horse stance, you're working your core, your thighs, your quads, your glutes. It's hitting everything. It's also hitting things that most exercises don't even hit. Because to stand in horse stance, there's certain muscles around the knees that are going to become stronger, in the ankles that are going to become stronger. So it becomes a full body workout.
I love it. Instead of doing 50 squats, you can just be the tiger and the bear and the...
Yeah. And just roll. Roll around like a bear. Just kind of rub your stomach.
And then there's a third part to your class.
Yes.
The Tai Chi warm-ups.
The Tai Chi warm-ups. Yeah. Master Knees Tai Chi warm-ups. I wish there was a cooler name, but I mean,
it is a great name.
It is a cool name, because Master Knee is awesome. But he developed Tai Chi warm-ups that he would start his class with. He took the essence of the 108 form, like the form that I learned. And again, it's long. And he developed it with the same idea. Not everybody can do the 108. Not everybody can remember it. If you do these 4 exercises, you will get what you need out of the form for health and to stay strong and fit. They even do carry some of the martial application and the self-defense, if it's taught right. But they're easy. They're very easy. And if you look at even the warm-ups, you will see how they kind of connect with the 8 brocade movements and with the 5 animal play. And that has to do with Tai Chi is part of Qi Gong. Qi Gong is part of Tai Chi. The movements, they all come together. You just had a lot of really smart people who found ways, and they understood that not everybody can learn this whole form. Not everybody wants to learn how to fight. Not everybody wants this and wants this, but they can still benefit from doing these key movements, because these key movements are within the whole form. In whatever movement you're going to do, there's an aspect of this in there, and there's an aspect of this in there. The other beautiful thing about Master Knee's movements is that it really collects everything that you did from the 8 brocade and the 5 animals of channeling that energy, bringing it up, having that conversation, but really solidifying it within the body. Each movement is geared to work either your breath, your mind, your body, and your eyes. These are the things that will allow you to move the energy. So you've had the icebreaker, you're learning to have a conversation, and now you're becoming one with it. One movement is not better than the other. They're just separating them. So when you take your final 3 deep breaths at the end, they all come together. They cycle together, much like the elements all work together. These things work together, and they're now completely solidified and locked in to you. So once you're done, everything's good. You're centered, good to go. Complete. Boom. At the same time, they help with like leg stuff too, strengthening legs, working the torso, working the core, all that stuff. Still relaxed. And for people who are interested, it will kind of give you a intro to what a Tai Chi class would have to offer. Of like, hey, this move does this, and it does this, and we're moving this energy when we do that. And this move is in this part of the form. So for people who are like, I like these movements, but what is your form? Mm-hmm. Like, I've seen Tai Chi before, but why is your form different? And then I can show them. There's a nuance in here. And now you've been privileged to a little introduction to it. If you're curious, I'll show you some stuff.
So the Tai Chi is 108 forms, and that takes you about 15 minutes to run through it, or take me 15 minutes. Longer if you're going slower.
Longer if you're going slow, longer if you learn the advanced. And depending on what speed you want to go. Because in the form that I teach, it incorporates Qigong into it. But it also incorporates another form, Bakwa Cha. And there's another form, Xingyi, and then you have Baji Chuan. All that's in here, but you have to start at the base level. But even in the base level, there's these certain movements from one posture to the next. Well, you'll see like, oh, there's something going on there. It's like, okay, because we're breathing in here, we're moving this here. And you're like, that's very much like a Qigong movement. It's like, yeah, it's supposed to be integrated. Or when you step, you're like, whoa, that step's a little different from what I've seen. It's like, the way that we're stepping now is that not only is this a martial application, but since you're opening up the meridian lines, you're kind of creating internal acupressure for the body. You're now doing reflexology because we're teaching you how to step and roll and put your mindfulness in that step. Understanding that what this foot's doing, your other foot is doing the opposite to help balance you out at the same time.
So for people who just want like a taste, they want exercises, they can also duplicate at home, or they want to come several times a week and just like feel better instantly after 1 hour without straining. They would start with your first class. And then if they feel intrigued and they want to move on to the 108 forms of Tai Chi, which is much more advanced and requires more learning, more time,
more discipline,
more devotion, more discipline, good memory, so you can remember all the 108 forms.
Yeah.
Then they can take it to the next step.
Yeah.
So,
which would be a great way to start, because again, you are cultivating first. You're conditioning your body. And it actually, for those who do want to go into the form, by starting this, you are getting your body ready for it. Who knows, the people who come and like after 3 months, they may just be like, I want to know this thing. Like, this is great. Can I do this? And they'll actually learn the form quicker because their body is already ready for it.
Conditioned.
It's conditioned for the movements. Their mind is conditioned. Their breathing is conditioned. Everything is conditioned. So when they actually start this 108 form, it won't look so difficult, or it
Maybe you
won't.
should make it a requirement.
Maybe it should be. Maybe we'll do the challenge. It's like, hey, we'll do the 3-month challenge after 3 months. Let's see what you can do.
One last question for people who are looking to strengthen their bones. Say they have osteoporosis or they are getting older and their doctor said you should be lifting weights. How can these exercises, whether it's Tai Chi or the class that we've gone through in detail, strengthen your bones?
They just do. Simple answer.
Check.
It will. You're increasing your white blood cell count. And you're also increasing your plasma, the platelets. That's what's going on, I think, in your spleen. That's what the spleen's doing. So when you're doing that, it's pushing that back out. As a Qi's moving, it's actually...
The cheese?
Qi, not the cheese, the Qi. Your Qi. As you're cultivating the Qi and you're moving it through these exercises, it wants to permeate the bones. Bones are hollow. They say most people, when you hit age 30, the bones start dying. But there's still something in there. There's still cavities in there. The Qi is now permeating in there. Anything that's dead, it'll start to kind of reinvigorate. So the bone marrow, it'll become stronger, which means that the outer area of the bone will become denser again. It won't become so brittle anymore because you're harnessing it, you're channeling it. And then with the physical side, your blood is now going to where it needs to go to revitalize. So again, full body, everything you need.
Last question. Kids and elderly. I've heard you say before that you're really interested in teaching kids class and class for the elderly.
Yeah.
Anything you want to say about that or why that's so important to you?
It's always good to start young. You start young, you can show kids that there's a different way of how to approach things, how to see things. Even without, having to be on them and harping them. By introducing the form to them, they will naturally start to change that way. They will adapt to that way. It'll become a part of them, especially when you start young, very, very young. That's why the 5 animals is so, like, if I was going to teach a class, like, I would just 30 minutes teach kids the animal form.
And that's it.
Because kids would love, like, okay, we're going to do tiger. Like, I actually can't wait to see that because there'll be a lot of, like, very happy tigers in the room that are doing that. But at the same time, it's strengthening their body. And it's not teaching them, again, those bad habits of overdoing it, Especially you're young as a kid, you're going to get injured. So imagine if they have something that's going to either help them not get injured when they do that fall, or it's going to help them recover a lot quicker. Same thing for the elderly. We're all going to get old. Things are going to start to fail on us. To have something that will keep you going for that time, to keep you strong for that time, to help you keep your balance. And that's what will help with the elderly. It'll help keep their balance. It'll strengthen their bones. Their bones will never be as strong as they were when they're younger.
But flexibility,
being able to have that again, or being able to not lose that, is great. To know that you can still enjoy life. Because a lot of times you see a lot of older people, they get stuck in homes. They're put into place. They still want to enjoy life. They just feel they can't because of whatever affliction they're going through. And then they start to feel useless, like they're not worth having around anymore. Imagine giving them something where they can still be out. They can enjoy the gifts that we take for granted. And they're old. They know those gifts. They've seen them. They reflect on them. It brings them joy. So imagine being able to give that back to them again, or let them be like, hey, here's some more time. Enjoy it. That's what I really look forward to. But yeah, So everybody is welcome.
Love that. So for the listeners, if you're in Phoenix, definitely visit soncenterphx.com for ways to contact us and get in touch with Frank for our lessons. And if you're living not in Phoenix, if you're out of town and you want to schedule something for when you're traveling to Arizona, we are now creating sort of like a customized build your own retreat. So you want to come to Phoenix this winter when you're tired of the cold, you want to take 4-day weekend, stay at your favorite Airbnb or hotel, and then come to the Sun Center and load up with all kinds of yummy classes and workshops and treatments and services. We're here for you. And to just finish off this interview, is there any last words of wisdom or any sort of advice you find yourself commonly giving others, or something that's like coming to mind at this point that you want to share?
I'm a blank right now.
It's okay. Take your time. I know someone asked me this once in a podcast, and I literally took like 60 seconds, and then I came out with like the most badass stuff. So I always think it's worth the wait.
I'm trying to. Just take your time. Take your time. Take your time to enjoy something, to appreciate something. Even if it's bad, appreciate it. Take it in for what it is. You'll learn from it better. You'll become stronger from it. Just take your time.
That's a relief. There's no rush.
Yeah, there's no rush.
Awesome. Well, thanks for being with us on the Flower Lounge podcast, and thanks for being with us at the Sound Center. We really appreciate you here.
It's always a pleasure.
Thank you so much for listening to the Flower Lounge. I'm Katie Hess, and we'll be releasing a new podcast every Wednesday. If you like what you heard, or you know someone who might be touched by our conversation, share it with them. And don't forget to subscribe. To find out what your favorite flowers mean about you, take the quiz at LOTUSWEI.com.